Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm doing another speed building video, and this little house that I built is actually a 4-sim starter house. And so what I did was basically, I knew I wanted to build a starter house as part of my budget build series, but I didn't know for how many sims to build it for. So I went on Twitter and I asked my followers what kind of house I should build. Like, should I build it for a single sim, like 2 sims, 3 sims, or 4 sims? And the most popular opinion on the poll that I did was to build one for 4 sims. And so I literally did just that. So I did build this house for a couple and their 2 kids. So it is a 3-bedroom house, not actually a 4-bedroom house, but it does sleep 4 sims. And the children's bedrooms is, one was made for a little boy and then the other one was made for a little girl. And yeah, I really like the way it turned out. I liked that it's a 2-story starter house, because normally with starter houses you do like a 1-story, but I was able to do a 2-story, so I was really happy with that. And when I was building this, I was actually really excited to get in and start playing with my own little family. And yeah, it's such a great house for progression and stuff. So with this house, where it is a 2-story and it is actually a big house, it's not a small limited space, you can easily just progress in this house, so you don't always have to move out and stuff. When you earn a little bit more money, you can just upgrade the items and you're good to go. So this house price is actually 24,000 simoleons, and it's built on a 20 by 15 lot. And I didn't limit myself to any certain packs when building this, but looking at the packs overall, I only use 10 packs, and 5 of which are the expansion packs, which is obviously Seasons, Cats and Dogs, City Living, Get Together and Get to Work. And then I used 2 game packs, which were Parenthood and Spa Day, and then the other 3 packs were Laundry Day, Bowling and Vintage Glamour. So it's not all the packs. I know there is still a big amount of packs, but if you have them packs, then you can just download it. But if you don't, then I'm sure you can just download it and then replace the stuff that goes missing. So now talking about the build, I'm actually just doing the front garden, and with it being a starter home, you are very limited to what you can do because you are on a budget. So I actually use a lot of debug items in this house, so just little bits and bobs to go on the shelves and stuff. A lot of it is actually just debug items, but debug's great because you don't actually have to spend any money. So what I just did with the little fence kind of thing around the stairs, they're actually a debug item. I think they're flour. I'm not sure. I've actually said this before in my previous video of another starter house that I did, which I think was my 2nd or 3rd video, where I've used it before. I didn't actually get this idea, I didn't think of this idea. I actually got it from Sim Kim, who I believe got it from someone called Thomas TV or Real Thomas TV. So yeah, I'm not taking credit for that one, but that is where I got the idea to do the little front porch thing. And also mentioning about the debug items in the house, so I did actually use quite a lot of debug items in the house, but it's okay. It looks really nice and cluttered, and the thing is, when you're doing starter houses, you can't really cluster them a lot. But I found with using the debug items, where they don't cost anything, it was fine. I could use as much as I want. So what I actually did is I went into the lot before I started recording this, and I got all the debug items I want to use and then put them in my household inventory, and then I just started recording because I didn't want to go through the list as I was recording, because it would be really, really boring to watch and it would just be a really, really long video. And so I did actually do that off camera, just because I didn't want to make the video extra long, because it doesn't really need to be. But yeah, so as you can see, we're now moving on to the inside. I did actually skip over the floor plan because the floor plan took me forever. At first, I did actually put 2 bedrooms upstairs and then the bathroom upstairs and then the main master bedroom downstairs, but I just didn't really like the layout. I wanted the mum to be able to just walk over the hall and go to the toddler if the toddler needs to, instead of the mum being downstairs or the dad, whichever one. And so I did actually change it to the bathroom is downstairs, which is still kind of a bit annoying, but it's how the floor plan went, and I didn't want to expand the house or make the bedrooms any smaller, because as I said, I want you to be able to progress in this house and not just have it as a starter and then move out. This is a starter which you can just expand and make literally like a little house, and I'm so excited to do that, like personally in my own gameplay. So I did actually have a family in mind when I was building this, and that family was a mum and a dad and the 2 children. So obviously, as I mentioned, the boy and the little toddler girl, and I imagine the mum was like a florist or something, and the dad was just in like the business career, I don't know, something like that. But that's what I kind of had in mind with this house. But there is no like flower arranging table in this house yet, because obviously I was working on a budget, so I wasn't able to do that. But as I said, you can just make some money and then you can buy one. But now you can see I'm doing the debug items. This is what I meant by it doesn't cost anything. So all of the items that I place on these shelves are debug, apart from a little plant which I use in every single one of my builds. It's one of the base game plants. It's one of the cheapest plants as well, but I do put that on the shelf. But everything else on the shelf I believe is debug. And you can just see I've like switched over now, and just look how nice and cluttered that looks. And that literally just cost hardly anything. We had to pay for the shelves and we had to pay for that little potted plant, but apart from that, it looks cool. But now I'm just gonna try and figure out what I'm wanting to put on the other side. I did try and put other cabinets to make it look like the shelves were a little bit closed in, but it didn't really look correct. So I just deleted it, and I put this little get together sign, which I always imagine says like what we're having for dinner or what's in your packed lunch or something like that. I don't know, that's what I always imagine that little sign says. But now I'm doing the little dining room table, and obviously this house doesn't have a dining room because it's not big and fancy, it is a starter house. So I just put the little dining room table in the middle of the kitchen. So downstairs it's just kind of like the kitchen, dining area, and then the lounge area all kind of combined, and then obviously we have the little bathroom off to the left. But apart from that, it is quite an open plan house. But you can see I've just put the sofa room with like a little desk. I actually flipped that around because I didn't like, as soon as you walk through the door, there was a sofa right there. So I actually flipped it around to the sofa's on the wall where the painting is. Just so it feels a little bit more open, because I felt like the way I originally put it was a little bit closed off. So I do go back and change that later on. But now I'm just putting in some little decorations. I put in that painting, which is also a debug item. That is actually a print, I believe, that you get from the telescope. I've never been able to get them, but I've always found them in debug. And the one on the opposite wall is also I think that's a different type of scientific painting research thing, I'm not sure. But they're both from debug, they're obviously not in the build category, so yeah. But now I'm just doing the little cluttered table, and that little Eiffel Tower thing is actually the clay. So I never actually realised that the clay could be moulded. I just thought they played with it, because when I've like played with it in the past, they've just never done anything. It's always just remained a ball. But apparently they can actually be little like statues and stuff, which is quite cool. So yeah, so now moving on to the upstairs, you can see I've just put all the beds in. And another thing with this build as well is I got to use the, I think it's cats and dogs curtains, or the My First Pet stuff curtains, I'm not sure which one it is. But then curtains that I use in the toddler room, I've never actually used them before, because some of the swatches they have are a bit strange and I would never normally use them. Like one of the swatches is like cat bones and the other one's like dog bones, and that was actually the only normal swatch. But I actually really liked that swatch. Like, I'd never seen it before, but I was looking for curtains because I didn't want the windows to be bare, because I feel like when a house has no curtains, it really looks like completely bare, completely empty. Even if it's got loads and loads of furniture in it and it still had no curtains, it would just seem really empty to me. So I always do try and put curtains in my build. I know they do cost a little bit more, but if you want to download this and you don't really, like, you're not bothered about the curtains, you could always just delete the curtains and then buy whatever you want with the rest of the money. But now I'm doing the dresser, and this is one of my favourite parts. Like, just this little dresser is so cute. So I use a lot of the debug items on this dresser, and the items I use were like makeup related. So I imagine this would be where the mum kept their makeup. And it's just really sweet, you know, it's just some like perfumes and lipstick and eyeliner and like a little nail file. I just think it's really, really sweet, and it costs nothing, so it's great because we didn't like run down the budget when I was doing this. But then I'm just going to finish it off, and I think I just put them folded clothes, and then I think I'll leave it. And then on the other side I was going to put a mirror, but I just didn't feel the need to put a mirror because they had a mirror downstairs in the bathroom, and then they had the dresser here to change their outfit. And so I just put a little plant just for decoration because, I don't know, it gives them like a good moodlet and stuff as well. So I wanted to have as much decoration and clutter as I could in this house, obviously being as bare as it is. Also, I would like to mention I didn't put a TV or a computer in this house just because I wanted to spend the budget on other stuff. With the PC or the TV, you can easily buy them after your first paycheck, but I don't know, I didn't put one in. I just didn't. But there's loads of stuff for the kids to do, and the mum and dad can just get jobs, so they won't really be bored. And if they are bored, they can just like go to the library or go out and socialise or something. I'm not sure, but it won't take long for your Sims to build up their money anyway. And so yeah. But moving on, this is a little boy's room, and I actually really like the way that this room turned out. And so what I'm doing here is I get these debug like arts and crafts things that they can make at the table, and there's 4 different types of them. There's one for each season, so there's a autumn one, a summer one, a spring one, and a winter one. And I use the summer one in the boys' bedroom, and I use the spring one in the girls' bedroom, and it just saves a lot of money, like because paintings and art decoration and wall hangings, they cost quite a lot, and I didn't want to spend like 300 simoleons on something that was just going to look nice when I could just spend, I think these are like £5 or something in debug. Some of the debug items do cost a little bit of money, but not all of them. Like you can buy whatever, like the little snow globe that I just placed, that does cost 20 simoleons, but I just thought it's worth it because it looks cute, and it looks like, I don't know, the dad's been on a business trip and he's brought back that for the toddler. I don't know, this is what I kind of imagined, but I just really like debug items, and I really recommend just like going through the catalogue. Even if you're not going to use it, just go through it and you can find some really cool stuff that you didn't even realise was in the game. Like I put on the bedside table a little magazine from Spa Day, and I've never seen it before, but you can. But anyway, moving back onto the build, so I'm just doing a little coffee table. It's funny because I put a TV remote on this coffee table, but there is no TV in this build, so it's just kind of like an empty remote, but it's fine, it'll be okay. But now I'm just cluttering up the bathroom, and I put a little sponge in, and then I actually put in some like cleaning products, and like just to make it look more lived in, because I really like my houses to look lived in. I don't want them to be like completely bare and boring. So I did actually get some more debug items in the bathroom, and they're just like cleaning supplies, and I actually sized them all up, and then I like kind of cluttered them next to the bath, just like I imagine like a house would have, just like a load of cleaning products, and it gives it a load of realism to the game. And I just personally like it. I mean, if you don't like it, you can just delete it, it's fine, but personally I thought it was quite cool. But anyway, I'm just kind of finishing up doing this little like open area, and I put a little bookcase in this like little entrance bit, and I put the Parenthood chalkboard as well in the like the chalk kind of swatch, if that makes any sense, because there's like a whiteboard swatch and then there's a chalkboard swatch, but I put it in the chalkboard swatch, and I just think it really like ties the room together, and I really like the way it turned out. But anyway, this is the end of the build. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me build this little 4 sim starter home. If you have any other requests for starter homes, or like, I don't know, like 6 sim starter homes, please let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in my next speed building video. Bye guys.